Theatre in downtown Tucson, Arizona. About to go on a monthly tour.
You guys read history, so I need to make, picture it never happened kind of thing. So everybody, raise your hands and be excited to be here at the Fox. You guys good? No? Can you hear it? No? How about now? No? Come closer. Okay. That's the best I can do. If you want to come up closer. Oh, now it's coming.
Now it's working.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do it from here. I can hear myself now, so that's good. And again, I want to welcome you here to the Fox. My name again is Lisa Bauer. I'm the Education and Programs Assistant here. I've been in this role for about 6 months. And I've had the privilege of being a docent with my boss, Jordan Wiley-Hill. I don't know if some of you have met him. He does an incredible tour, but he's on vacation right now. So I get to have you guys. But to kind of kick us off today, I'm going to show you.
We really can't hear you.
Okay.
This is really, you're
Can we maybe fill in a little closer?
Yep.
Because this is the only thing I have, and it's up high.
Yeah, just move up close. Move up closer.
Scoot up close. Let's get in front of it.
Old people.
Your space is
I'll
right
just be
here
real
behind
quick.
us.
I'll just be real quick and say. I'll just be real quick and say we're going to see a 16-minute documentary. It was put together by our marketing team in 2021, so it's slightly dated, but the information is all about our history, and that never gets dated. So once we do that, we're going to stop and then divide into 2 groups, and then we're going to split the tour. Sabine will take half of you on the artist services tour that starts down in the green room and the dressing rooms, and then she'll take you through the rest of the building, and I'll start from the other side, and we'll kind of cross in the middle and see how it goes, okay? So once again, welcome. Let's roll the film.
On August 24th, 1929, construction began on Lyric Amusement's Tower Theater, located at 17 West Congress in downtown Tucson. To be built on the site of Ratner's Furniture Store, the theater would be Tucson's largest and most luxurious. The Tower was designed by California architect Eugene Durfee. His second theater, following the Grand Theater in Douglas, and was planned to be both a vaudeville performance hall and a movie palace. The decor, a unique Art Deco rendered in southwestern colors, was described as Spanish modernistic by the media of the day. In September of that same year, officials from the National Fox Theater chain visited town with the goal of opening their own theater in Tucson. Following several meetings with the Dimos family, owners of Lyric Amusements, the Tower became the Fox. As construction was already underway, small decorative modifications to the decor were the only changes to Durfee's original design. Following 8 months of construction, and at a cost of $300,000, the Fox was ready to open for business on April 11, 1930. While delivering an estimated annual local economic impact of $7.5 million. The 2020 global pandemic, which shut down live events across the country, may have temporarily halted the Fox's progress. But with the support of its community, the Fox has met every challenge thrown at it for the past 90 years.
Very good.
So I now have a mic.
Yay!
A legit mic. I want to just start off by saying that was done in 2020, 2021. We, on April 11th this year, just celebrated our 95th birthday. So we've come a long way, and I'm sure we've passed the 1 million mark quite a bit. So while we're together in the theater, before we split up into groups, I just want to, 1, take some questions, and 2, tell you a little bit about the space that we're in, because
we are gonna divide and conquer, and we're gonna see other spaces, but this is the most important, I believe, in my mind. So, let me take some questions first, and then I'll tell you a little bit about our auditorium. Any questions? Don't be shy, this is how the tour goes.
So what is the capacity?
The capacity, seating capacity right now is 1164. It was on opening day 1300, but people got a little bigger, so this is a little smaller, so here we are. Yes?
Are theaters from this period, were they built similar size-wise? Because we lived in Wilkes-Barre, PA for a while, and they have the FM Kirby Theater, and it just reminds me of it in every way, shape, and form, and, you know.
Yeah.
Were they all built in that type of size in the late 20s?
Very similar, right? They, I mean, these are some of the larger ones, the, 1,000 plus, but, all this, I can speak to the Fox theaters because they're all over the country, right? We were the 501st Fox to be built back in 2020, or 1929, 30. But all of the Fox theaters were grand and beautiful. The one thing that sets us apart is the Southwest Art Deco decor. You are not going to find this in any other theater, not even the Grand in Douglas. So yeah, so that's really what makes us special, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. Any other questions? Yeah.
Do you have an orchestra, so you have your bar orchestras playing sometimes?
The Fox does not have its own orchestra, but we do invite, like TSO has played here, a lot of other, chamber and symphony, and we lower the platform so that they have a legit orchestra pit there. So, yes. Yes. Sadly, it's not. It's open only by the fact that the roof is no longer there. Sorry. Yeah, but it was built similar to this one, and the walls are still standing. But I heard that there's a tree growing in the center, but it's all just walls, unfortunately. So. Never say never in my dream world, but it would take a lot. So, any other questions? Yes. So this Wurlitzer has a unique story. It's not original to the Fox. It was donated by an oncologist from California. He actually pieced the Wurlitzer together from parts. I say he kind of Frankensteined it, but it was a labor of love for over years and years and years, decades. He wasn't an organist, a Wurlitzer organist, player. He was just fascinated by them. So he spent much of his lifetime just building this beautiful piece of art.
The value of it now is estimated to be $1 million.
Did you hear that?
No.
So this organ right here is estimated to be worth $1 million today. Do you want to tell the story? Do you know the story? No, okay. So the doctor just pieced this together in his own house. Normally, when you build Wurlitzer organs, they're built for the space. You build the space around it. But as he grew and drew this and created more and more parts to make the finished product, he would have parties at his house. And it was told that when they started to play the organ, the whole grid in this neighborhood would just go crash down. And the neighbors would say, oh, there he goes, he's having a party again, playing the Wurlitzer. But then, do you remember the year that this was donated to them? No, it was well after the restoration. I want to say, even like the early 2000s, like 2010s. But yeah, he before he passed, he gave this to us because he knew it would be in the perfect place. So if you look at the horizontal lines on both sides of the proscenium, each of those holds over 1,000 pipes and instruments, and not all of the instruments that we have are in place. And if you've had the chance to come here and listen to the Wurlitzer, I know there was a Buster Keaton movie last year around Halloween time. The Wurlitzer company, come this Halloween, We're gonna be showing the 100th year anniversary of the Phantom of the Opera, the original Phantom of the Opera. The Wurlitzer will be a company, and they will be played. So, please come see that because it's an amazing show.
Are tickets on sale?
Tickets are on sale, I believe. Well, it's still a secret, it hasn't been announced. No, that's not entirely true, because I know Jordan, my boss, has been telling everybody. So, tickets may not be available yet, but watch out for it, because when they go, they're gonna go fast. We just had our first summer camp. It was a 2-week summer camp for kids ages 10 to 16, and it was a silent movie camp. At the end of that 2 weeks, we actually had a red carpet premiere for them. That was last Friday. It seems like just yesterday, but it was last week. As one of the camp leaders, it was an amazing event for these kids to like come together, create their own scripts, do their own casting, do their own filming, and then of course the adults did the editing. But then to come here together, I think we had in attendance maybe 150 people, family, community, donors. They were here to witness it, all in the Hollywood style fashion. So it was amazing. Okay, yes.
Is there like a season ticket for events?
Not at this time. Not at this time. So it's maybe, it's a great idea.
The Halloween event where we can hear this, is it just for one night or is it going to
Yeah,
be?
just one. There are very few people in the country, let alone the world, that can play a Wurlitzer theater organ. This is not your same church organ. It's completely different. So we have the privilege of having, I think, 3 people that we can reach out to come play. So, yeah. Yes. That's a good question. So, Jocelyn, do you want to answer that one? Where is the organ normally stored?
So if you guys will look at the front of the stage, you notice that apron that comes out, that's actually called the pit lip, and that thing goes up and down all the way to our basement.
It's the only elevator we have in the building.
And essentially there's a little tiny closet down there that we shove it into.
Gently.
Yeah, don't say shut.
Yeah. And we have a grand piano downstairs as well, and you'll see that when you're part of the tour. Next. Anyone else? Okay. Yes,
The grand piano, do musicians request to use that, or can they?
I believe so, yeah. I don't know exactly. I've only been in the position for 6 months, so I can't answer specifically, but
That's something we can arrange.
yeah, we can arrange that, absolutely. It's so much easier to have one here than to bring it in. Because do you guys recognize the gentleman who was playing the piano in the documentary? Bruce Hornsby, yeah. So, when artists come here and perform, we hear time and time and time again that this is one of the best auditoriums to ever play in acoustically. And there is a secret to that, and it's a secret technology that is not available hardly anymore. I think we're the only building in the world that still has it. So if you look to the side, it's actually all around. This is called Acoustone, and it's literally a fabricated plaster that is very thin, but it's applied to the wall. Each of those different shapes is a separate mold. So if you see like the cornerstone pieces at the top of the columns, that's one mold. We have undulating patterns, those are separate molds. We have 2 unique patterns over the exit doors, theater left and stage left, stage right. Those are their own molds. But the technology behind this is amazing. When they did the restoration, they had some damage due to waterfall and everything during the period it was in disrepair and closed. So they had to figure out how to replicate it, because being on the National Historic Register, you have to, if you're restoring, you have to restore exactly. You can't just guess. If there's a photograph, if there's a color swatch, it has to be exact. Some things, obviously, we had to take some liberties on because we didn't have record of what that was, but the Acoustone was definitely something that we had to be absolutely perfect on, because 20% of the wall was damaged. So the founders went and looked for the patent for the Acoustone and found it, And they started making the slurry, poured it in the molds, but they would never set. And they're like, okay, we're following the patent, what's going on? So then they were able to track down the grandson of the inventor of Acoustone. How they did that, I don't know. Because this was before like major internet, you know, so how do they do it? And they found him and they said, oh, there's a secret ingredient. It's a process ingredient, it's not in the patent. Do you guys think you know what it is? Any guesses? Baking soda. Baking soda. And now that I've told you that, when you leave and have a chance to touch and look at the Acoustone, you'll see why. It's the carbonation in the baking soda makes these beautiful, nice organic holes. So this is the most natural sounding acoustics that you'll have. And like I said, the artists love it. That's why they love to return here again and again and again. So that's one of my favorite things about this place is that you will not find this anywhere else. So good question. Anything else? Yes. I am 99.9% sure. Yeah, the Acoustone treatment, yeah. While we're talking about the technology in the theater, let me just real quick before we divide into groups, I want to talk to you about the auditorium. So when the theater was designed, it was designed by Eugene Durfee, and believe it or not, it was a surprise to me until I saw this documentary that nothing was really changed in the overall design except for a few design elements, decor elements in the rest of the theater in the lobby. And so this was the original idea for the Fox or the Tower at the time. But it's the Art Deco era, you know, end of the 1920s, roaring 20s, and they really highlighted everything, you know, Art Deco. You'll see a couple spaces, especially down in the donor lounge, where it's true Art Deco form. But in here, they had to make this truly significant for Tucson, so they created the Southwest Art Deco. So the ceiling is, you know, obviously our crown jewel, the chandelier, but you'll see like very earthy colors, the monsoon clouds, which hopefully we're going to see soon, I hope, very, very soon. You see the turkey vultures flying around. You see, of course, the sun is the significant, you know, centerpiece of all of this. You see some Aztec Mayan influences from Mexico, and I mean, it's an incredible, incredible labor of love. When they got the building and started restoration, they had to totally redo the ceiling. Luckily, they had scraps of, you know, pieces of color that they were able to match the exact color, the, you know, pigment, the material, and then they spent $1 million to restore just the ceiling paint alone. And it was one woman who actually, I don't know if she was like Michelangelo's son or she was painting it back, I don't think so. But she restored the building to back what it looked like in 1930 when it opened. So everything that you see here around you, color of the seats, the carpet, the walls, except for the technology, was as it was in opening night 1930. So that's pretty significant. And that was the goal of the restorers. Our founding, you know, the Fox Tucson Theater Foundation was to restore it back to opening night. So that was a huge, huge, huge project. Okay, the chandelier is original. The glass panels in the chandelier, unfortunately not all of them are. It is the only incandescent lamp that's still here in the building. We have to try to keep it as close to what it was. Incandescents are getting harder and harder to find. So I will say that the points on the star, those lights are LED, but what you see below are the incandescents. So, and then the four chandeliers around, those are also LED, but they are the original light fixtures. So, let's see. Oh yeah. So there's a great story that the restorers found when they were digging through and they found like the popcorn boxes and everything. Up in the chandelier, they actually found popcorn, which I don't know how. When we go up and look at the balcony, the trajectory on that, on such a light piece of material, they found half-eaten hot dogs. They found a dead pigeon. which we don't know if the pigeon died because of having a hot dog.
You said a pigeon took the hot dog up there.
It's very possible, and then maybe at his demise, I don't know. So yeah, it was pretty cool. And actually, Jocelyn, I'm gonna have you talk for a moment about to change the light bulbs in that fixture alone. We can reach the ones in the back with scaffolding, but these have to be dropped in order to reach them. Do you want to tell how long it takes to drop the main chandelier?
The big boy is on a hand crank. For me specifically, because one crank was about half an inch.
One rotation on the hand crank is a half an inch.
So it takes a lot of cranks to do our workout, so we bring it all the way in and take it out. It's about, if anybody else is doing it, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, I'm strong. Not really, it takes about 5 minutes to bring it in, 5 minutes, it takes a lot longer to get it out. 50, depends how much it is.
They found a whole bunch of, like the plates and things, the glass had this dirty, filmy, sticky substance all over it. Do you guys have any idea what that was? Including the ceiling?
Cigarette smoke.
Cigarette smoke. So imagine, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that we, had to stop smoking in public places, but they started from opening night all the way through. So all of that had to be restored and cleaned. I will tell you a brief story about the community that was here for about 25 years, when it was like 1974 until restoration started. So no electricity, no running water in the theater, it's dark, okay? On the stage, they would actually throw sand on the stage and build fires. The community was about 40 people, I think they mentioned that in the documentary. But they were groups, they weren't like all one big, kibbutz or whatever. But they would build a fire and cook their food in the middle of the stage, but they had to throw sand down to do that. The mothers would go over to the libraries and get books and homeschool the kids here. And there was a baby that was born at the foot of one of the stairs as you came into the lobby, so that's pretty cool. Apparently, one night there was a fire up in the balcony somewhere, so they didn't have water, so what did they do? They rallied the guys together, ran up and stood around it and put the fire out. Interesting history about the Fox Theater. There was one performer, and he would stand up on stage and recite his own poetry. And when he was done, he would take breadcrumbs out of his pocket and toss it into the crowd, because they weren't the only community members. There was hundreds of pigeons that lived in here with them. I'm having a hard time breathing just thinking about it. But he would toss his breadcrumbs out, and he always said, if they cooed, they booed, and if they flapped, they clapped. And so sure enough, he tossed them out, and he heard all the flappings. And they would have like little flashlights that they would put in cans and put it on the stage, and the kids that lived here would do like little performances and fashion shows. So it was an amazing, mind-blowing fact that this was still a performing arts place, even when it was in a shutdown period. So, and they were the stewards of the building. They took really good care of it, the best of their ability, so that we were able to do the restoration. It's kind of cool. And we reached out to them, I think, at one point, and asked them if they wanted to be, known, and they're like, we don't want to. Don't tell anybody who we were. So interesting. Any other questions?
Got to be haunted.
It is. It is. Yeah. And actually, we have a ghost light. There's a thing that theaters always do. They always have a ghost light in place so that the spirits have something to fixate on while things are happening. And there's also another thing. So if you look at the chevron pattern around the roof, the ceiling, what do you imagine that chevron pattern is for? Any ideas? It is actually functional. Ventilation, and most importantly, it's the air conditioning. So, heat rises, cold air falls. So it's up there for air conditioning. This was the first building in Tucson to be air conditioned, which is pretty amazing. But there is one chevron that is not like all the others. Can you find it? Yep. Center stage.
No arrows.
So the story goes that when the construction was happening in the theater in the early or late 20s, there was a scaffold, scaffolding everywhere, and there was an accident, and a person actually perished. So it was the time of the Depression, and a gentleman was looking for work, so he scoured the newspapers and he found that they were looking for a worker to replace. So he's like, I can do this. So he ended up being the replacement person, and the story is that he did it for, as a memorandum. He was responsible, that's like his big job was to put all these chevrons on, but this was a memorial to the person that he took the job from. So that's one story. Another story is just like the ghost light. We have something that's an imperfection in the theater to keep the spirits busy so that they don't mess with anything else. Sabine, have you had any experiences?
Oh, certainly late at night I get a chill, and I don't know if that's because I'm easily scared or there is genuinely a ghost around me.
So there was one point I was coming through, and it wasn't at night, but the theater was dark. And it gets really dark. And I was coming through to go do something in box office. And I glanced up to the projector room, and it's mostly dark, when the theater's dark. There was one light that always stays on up there, and I looked up and saw what I thought was a person walking in front of the window, the second one over from our left, if I'm looking at the projector room. So needless to say, I hustled it out of here as quickly as I could, and I went around the building on the outside to get back to the Star Building, which is our administration building. But I've never had like a negative feeling here. Down in the donor lounge, and we'll get to that, but I'll tell you here, we had ghost hunters come in. I forget what year it was, maybe early 2000s, and they set up cameras down in the lobby out here and then the donor lounge, and they caught things on camera. I'll tell you down in the donor lounge when we each meet down there, but the one out here in the lobby was they set the camera down toward the donor lounge stairs pointing in that direction, and they actually caught like a blur go past the camera. Nobody else was in the building other than the crew, the ghost hunting crew, and when they slowed down the frame, it looked like a ghost with like the sheet over it, which is so weird, but they slowed it down and they saw a form. So those are available on YouTube if you want to look for them. Just search under Fox Tucson Ghost Hunters, and you'll be able to see those two videos. So kind of great. Yes?
So keeping with the ghost theme, how many people have actually died here?
I don't know the answer to that one. I know that
At
just
least
the
one.
one. Yeah, just the one. I hope there's not more than that. That would be weird. And I don't know, it's possible that the community that was here in the in-between time, maybe there was something. Interesting. Any more questions?
A lot of performers died. Cool.
Performers died. Okay. So what we're going to do now is split into two groups. There's about 70 of us, so if we can roughly get 30 to 35, that would be ideal. I'm not sure how you want to do that. If you want some over here and some over there. I know that a lot of you are in groups, so stick with your groups, obviously.
Background. This is obviously before construction. You can see that the rail is here and the dirt road. And this truly is the heart of downtown Tucson because we are at the 0 block in stone. So all numbering starts from here. And then we're going to make our way up both flights of stairs. Saw opening night on the far left, all the way through Mickey Mouse Club, and I don't remember if the video talked about it, but so the Mickey Mouse Club started before the TV version, obviously. like in 1930, I think it started to spread throughout theaters across the country. And in 1935, it was like prolific, but then they started to shut it down due to logistics and legal issues and things like that. But the woman who was running it here at the Fox, her name was Mabel, I want to say Whitford. She was known as Aunt Minnie because she had taken all those Saturday programs and continued it on after Disney got done with it for another 20 years. So, you know, they'd have 1,300 kids in this facility every Saturday for hours, and there was maybe 5 supervisors, adult supervisors. I'm a former teacher, I cannot. So how they did that, I don't know. But you know, they started out with, you know, bring your dog to the Fox Day. They would have leadership roles for them, for the kids. That would, you know, they would term out very frequently. They would teach them public speaking. They would teach them performance skills, in addition to showing them, you know, cartoons every Saturday. So it was really cool. But the Mickey Mouse Club is significant for us because that's how it was integral to the Fox when it opened. So we're continuing that spirit still today with all of our kids in the theater programs. And Jordan and I, the education department of the Fox, we're really trying to, you know, add more things to that expansion program. So, you can see some images of the scaffolding that was up during restoration and chandelier. So the gentleman who was the founding executive director, Herb Stratford, which the Founder Lounge is named after, he was the one who took these sepia prints because at the time he was a photography student at the U of A, and he actually snuck into the building when it was all boarded up and got really good pictures of the chandelier. You know, it was busted, and then he was in the balcony taking pictures of the seats from above. But then, because he was the student that snuck in here, he immediately fell in love with it, and when the time was right, he started the foundation and said, we gotta restore this and do that. So, okay. This was probably when it opened, the offices of the Giamos brothers, which were the 3 brothers that started the whole Lyric Amusement Company in southwest of Arizona. I think they had over 28 theaters at the time, so yeah, we're going to go ahead and go downstairs carefully, and we're going to go into the balcony. If you want to sit in the balcony, like in the love seats, I'll tell you a little bit about that. Just so much. If they did, I mean, it was something that was really really same glass? Yeah.
Move out there, they still go.
They did it right. Yes. See, Annie? In the 50s that they took them out because the teenagers were taking far too much advantage of them. So they said, no, let's stop that. But then during the restoration, they brought it back. The seat over here that this gentleman is sitting in the far back stage or house lot is a very famous seat. Back in the day when John Wayne was here filming westerns, he knew the manager, and he would say, hey, I'd like to come in and see the show. After the curtain went up, they would sneak him in, and that was his seat. He would always sit there before curtains went up again or went down. They escorted him out to avoid the fans and the panic and paparazzi. So, yeah, there's not one seat. If you want to request that seat, when you're looking at, call, your box office. Which on my list.
And this is the view from the stage. Now, it's not one just each venue. It seems like instruments on the stage. They get in the auditorium.
Acoustics are amazing. Oh, yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and continue on him up. We're gonna go down the next set of stairs, which is right around. The skyrise, the high-rise skyscrapers like the Empire State Building with organic features that you find in like Japan and such. So, interesting story about this fireplace. Many things happened in the theater and still do from time to time. We actually, early on, had a wedding here, and I have a picture of the wedding party. It has to be from the 20s because they're in total flapper attire. But they were standing here in front of the fireplace. So just, you can note, the carpet is a little different, the light fixtures are a little different. We were able to take some of it because I don't know exactly what that looked like. But I'll pass this around. A lot of things happened at the Fox back then. This was like the place people would come all the time for community. So if you weren't at the Fox, if you wanted to meet your friends here, you would always come to the Fox. If you wanted to take a date out to the theater at night, if you weren't sure about the date, you didn't know, how it was going to go, you could take it to the Rialto, which was the Paramount. If you wanted to totally impress your date, you could come to the Fox. Around here, you can see a lot of pictures of our performers that they highlighted in the reel. Steve Martin, Kyle Levitt, who was just here in February. This is Brian Setzer's group and Roseanne Cash. And again, these people, such as Kyle Levitt, they come back again and again and again because they just love playing in the most amazing musical theater in the country. So we're very pleased to have them. Plus, our artist services group takes very good care of all the talent. So this space was originally the bathrooms for the theater. 1,300 people. Intermission. Go to the bathroom. Ridiculous. So, and they were back there. So we actually, at restoration, punched a hole in the wall and put donor bathrooms in the back. If you're a donor, I think you're back there. You can go back and look if you want. And donors, of course, if you donate at the 250 and above level, you can have access to the space for any performance. You've got your own bar, your own bathrooms, you have a place to relax before, during the show, even after. So this is kind of a cool thing about being a donor to the Fox. And it was pointing here. They had a stuffed cat because they needed something to focus the light on to see if there's any type of change. So back then when they did it, you remember those flashlights that were huge, took all those D-sized batteries and you had to go to get them to turn on? So that's what they had there. And somehow during the whole thing, this was in the middle of the night, maybe like 2 a.m., 2:30, 3 a.m. As they were filming, the light was on the cat, and then it would go off. And then it went on again, almost like a flash of lightning. So there was nobody down here filming. They were all in other places. So how in the world can you get a huge flashlight that turned on without manually touching it? Somebody has to touch it, but it did it 2 times. So again, the video is on YouTube. Just look under Fox Tucson Theater Ghost Tours or Ghost Hunters, and you'll see the book there. But it's really fun. People have said back in the day that they saw ghosts of a little girl here, kind of walking around. She was in a long, beautiful dress, but she was maybe like yay high. So they don't know if it was maybe the girl that was born up there, or we don't know. But people have experienced a little bit. Any questions before we head upstairs? Just wasn't mentioned. Upstairs and then go to the lobby and then start to go to
Didn't see Steve Martin.
This is the orchestra pit access door, so when we bring the elevator down with either the grand or the organ, we roll it out here, and then you can take it and tuck it in its corner over there. Generally,
It comes down that.
it comes down here, the elevator comes down, they open this up and roll it out, and the grand is sitting over here.
Oh, did you? Oh, nice. Yeah, they, but this band that came to the park was awesome. I mean, not exactly, you know, right there too. Are they there?
We have recorded musicians before. In fact, the musician that played the Buster Keaton event last year, we recorded his entire performance. So we could actually play it back note for note, phrase for phrase, without the need of a person. Oh, that's awesome. This is the behind the scenes.
Yowza.
Seriously, it's not a common name. No, no, I live in Glen Mars. Oh, wait, we don't have anything to hold on to.
That's what I'm saying. Right
stairs. You're right. I was thinking about my arm is just like. Oh, you can't spell your name either? You guys can't get a Stella. No, you were.
Is because just as Bill Bueller was tearing back the layers of the wallpaper, finding this incredible history, hopefully you guys enjoy peeling back the layers with us today. So we are so thankful that you were here. Tell your friends, because we do this every month, every Tuesday, first Tuesday of every month at noon. We also do private tours, so if you get a larger group, 15, 20 people or more, we'll do a private group. So just reach out anytime. Thank you so much.